Hello and welcome. I'm Carol DeChaine, your intuitive spiritual guide for practical matters and Marconic multidimensional energy teacher and practitioner. I'm talking about challenges this month. And last week I asked you to look at what your challenges were. And now I'm going to ask you, how do you respond to those challenges? Because there are so many ways as human beings that we can respond to things that we think of as difficult for us. Do you close up and kind of step back and try and figure out, oh, because some people get very inside themselves and in their head, and they react like everything's fine, and all of a sudden they may blow up. Is that something that you do? Or do you just stay inside and it just eat away at you instead, and you don't even talk to your loved ones about what's bothering you? I know in the past, men would come home from work and they wouldn't even talk about work, but they would end up having a breakdown or just they would hate their job because it was so stressful and they wouldn't say a word to their spouse. And maybe they would beat their spouse or drink or something and they would never communicate about it. And I'm sure that still happens. So how do you respond to difficult times, times that those challenges kind of get to you, where you say, okay, this is a challenge. This is something I'm having an issue with. There's other ways that you can respond. You can tell every single person you know and complain about it, and yet still not do anything about it. It can be very difficult to be around people like that as well, besides the people who hold everything in, because you can't assist them or help them if they hold it in. But if they tell everybody and you say, oh, well, how can I help you? And they won't even listen because you think they're asking for advice and they're not. You just need a sounding board sometimes, but you complain to everybody. Other times you might pick just one person to talk to about it and say, look, I need to talk to somebody about this. This is really bugging me. So perhaps that's what you do. You find one person who's your sounding board, but make sure they know that they're the only person you're talking to and say, I have this challenge. Can you be like my person, my accountability person to see how I can shift this? Because, this is just crazy. I don't know what to do. Maybe you can help me come up with solutions. And if you say you're the only person I'm talking to about this, they will get kind of think you're obsessed and talking about it to everybody. And maybe they'll just be happy to talk to you about it. So, how are you responding? Are you responding by keeping quiet, by complaining to everybody, by maybe drinking or sublimating it in some other way where you are going out and maybe you're working out after work and that's how you deal with it if it's a work issue? Or if you have an argument at home, you go away and you race cars or you take a walk. Say, it's time for the dog's walk, I'll be back, because you want to just chew nails. Maybe you put your fists through walls because the anger is so big about something. How are those challenges being responded to? Really look at yourself. Once you've discovered, if you haven't listened to last week, listen to last week and really figure out exactly where those challenges are in your life. It may be really obvious, but perhaps there are a lot more in different areas that you're not even realizing. Maybe you just think you have a bad boss and that they're being nasty all the time. But if you look at it and you're going, oh, it's not just them, they're impacting the way the other employees are dealing with me. They're impacting the customers, the clients as well. And so therefore, I'm having to deal with those people too. So it's not just the boss. If the boss would go away, everything would be fine. But that might be the case. But what about all this other ripple effect that happens because of one person or one thing that you think of as a challenge? There's lots of different things that you may need to respond to. So once you do look at and figure out those challenges you're facing in different areas of your life, you can decide what's worth responding to and how you want to do it. Can you fix the situation? Maybe you're a fixer and you go in and go, it's the car. I can get a mechanic to fix it. Then I'm fine. That's the challenge. Might cost a lot of money depending on the car and depending on what's the wrong with it. If you can even tell, maybe you have medical issues. Nobody knows what the problem is. So you keep trying to get it fixed. Or maybe you complain and you don't go to the doctor. Maybe you would rather live with it than know because of the fear what it is. So how do you respond to these difficult times that you might be going through, those challenges that you're facing. Know thyself. Because when you know yourself and how you deal with it, you might talk then to your loved ones to say, look, I normally don't talk to you about these things, but it's eating me up. I'm not saying anything, and I really need to do something about this. Can I bounce ideas off you? Can I, or maybe you normally drink and you have to go to AA, so you have to find another outlet. And perhaps just being there at AA is your outlet for how you can face challenges. You can really get some depth from that and some new ways of handling situations, not just what makes you drink, but everything else that maybe that comes up later that might make you drink once you stop or try to stop. There are so many different ways to respond to a challenge in your life. And just as many challenges as you face, there's just as many ways to respond. So I can't go into a ton of them here, but I want you to be aware. Really look at yourself. If you think you're a reasonable person and you're facing a challenge and you're going, well, I do it just like everybody else does. Maybe ask your loved ones, when I'm facing this, how do I respond? Okay, is this like maybe you get an anger switch thrown on, or you retreat and you're going, I don't do that. So when they tell you what they're doing, don't get defensive or lash back at them because you're asking them a question and you want their honest answer. How do I react when this happens or that happens? When I'm facing a challenge, how do I react? Is that something that you can share with me? Because I really like to know because I may not be aware. And maybe you're honestly aware because you know when you face a challenge, you do get that anger immediately. And then maybe from there you work things out, or maybe from there you blame other people. That's another one you can do. When you face a challenge, you just blame the other person or the other people or the situation. Instead of finding a way to deal with it, you just blame them. And that's how you deal with it. You point fingers and you accuse others. And we're all human, so we do some of that, a little of this, a little of that, to face challenges. But everybody has a go-to way of doing it. So I'm asking you last week to look at what the challenges look like. And this week, I'm asking you, how do you respond? Because I want you to be aware of those two things because you can't really go further into this month until you know both of those. Next week, I'm going to ask you if you asked for those difficult times and be careful what you ask for. And the last week, I'm going to be talking about how to rise above those challenges, how to shift and change what you're doing so that you can then go through it maybe in a more graceful way. Look, though, this week I am asking you, how do you respond to these times when you have something that rubs you the wrong way? Somebody who says something that becomes challenging or that makes your job a challenge, makes your home life a challenge. Your children are challenging you. Your car is breaking down. Those gnats or other things that are in your life are just bugging the heck out of you. I talked about that last week. The gnats that are coming from some plant somewhere and I can't figure out where in my house, which is otherwise fabulous. Or perhaps you have little critters running around your house, whether it's a mouse, which I saw at my sister's house, which freaked me out because I wasn't expecting it. Or maybe you have spiders more than you should have, or something else, mold, mildew, something at your home that you're going, oh my God. Or maybe it's just there's lack of communication there, or there's fighting and arguing and complaining going on at home where you just don't like going home. And that's your challenge. Once you know what they are, what part of your life they're in, then you have to figure out how do you respond to them normally so that then you can become aware when you're responding, you go, there I go again. I see. And see if that's the best way for you to respond to get the best result that you may want to shift those challenges into something that works for you. And sometimes what we call challenges are fun and exciting, but usually they don't last forever. They're something we get through, we enjoy, we're done, we go, wow, kind of like skydiving. That would be a challenge. For some people, it would be impossible. I like planes. I don't feel the need to jump out of perfectly good planes, but some people want to. That's their challenge. Sometimes it's just exhilarating and wonderful and fabulous and an adventure. But if a challenge hangs in there for too long of a time, then it becomes more difficult. So look at it and see where it's shifted. If it started out as a fun challenge and all of a sudden it's not so fun anymore, look at why. Look at what's going on. And then look at how you're responding to it once you shift into that, I don't like this anymore. What do I need to do now? Do I need to stop what's happening? Walk away? So look at how you're responding. Because some people, that's what they do. Whenever they face a challenge, they just walk away. They throw their hands up and go, can't do anything, I'm done. And that doesn't necessarily make their life better either. And usually it may not, unless that's your lesson, is to learn when to say no or when to walk away. So how do you respond to these difficult times? Give it some thought and bring those two ideas back next time so that you can learn even more about what to do once you face the challenges and why they're there in your life in the first place. Thank you for joining me here today. I'm Carol DeChaine. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell notification so you know the next time that a video is posted, which is usually Sunday night and Wednesday night, because Sunday is the Joy Corner and I Am Affirmation for the week. And there are so many out there that if you don't like the one that comes out this week, you can certainly go back and find one that will work for you in another week. And then Wednesdays are different ones that I hope will help you connect to your joy. And Connect to Joy is what my business is called, as well as my podcast, Connect the number 2 Joy. So look me up, listen, and let me know if I can be of any assistance to you, either as a life coach, psychic, or a Marconic multidimensional energy practitioner. Until next week.